Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Big Money Show, brought to you by the team of Big Financial Services. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me is the president of Big Financial Services, Glenn Cummings. We've got a great show for you today. The title of today's show is How to Remove Your Wealth from Washington. If you are uncertain or uneasy about what your potential tax burden might be, you're not going to want to miss today's show. Glenn, my friend, I know you are raring to go.
Kristen, as always,
let's go!
Can't wait to talk about taxes today.
Yes.
I'm so excited. So excited.
Oh my gosh. And just the title of the show alone, How to Remove Your Wealth from Washington. I'm sure several of our viewers are like, let's go, right?
Yes. Everyone,
wanting to know how to
there.
do that.
Yes.
For sure.
You know, it's so funny. You know, that is the biggest question I have all the time. Mm-hmm. And the biggest frustration I deal with folks is taxes. You know,
yes.
I think, you know, if I was to give money to the IRS, you know, which we all give money to the IRS, but I knew exactly where it was going, right? I'd be okay with that.
And if it was going to things that I believed in or was happy about, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. We don't know where it's going. We know this national debt is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And many of us realize that the facts are this, right? Most likely down the road, we're probably going to have to pay more taxes, right? They're going to have to somehow try to repay all this debt that we have, right? And when you look back, and like I mentioned in our last show, 1932 to 1982, the highest tax rates were almost 70%. A lot of people forget those days, okay? And I'm not saying we're going to head back there again, okay? I'm not saying that, you know? I would hope that taxes are reduced in the future. That'd be a blessing for all of us, but I feel the taxes are possibly going to go up. And if they do, our retirement accounts are the ones that are in really serious jeopardy. And what do I mean by that? The government has given us this really nice, unique way of saving money with pre-tax contributions to our 401ks, our IRAs, and this is what we've done over many years. And many of you that are out there that have a 401k, you're still doing it, right? And it's awesome. I mean, you know, a lot of you out there have your, you know, your employer may be matching those contributions. So you're just putting all this money in and it just keeps growing and you're blessed, you're happy, man, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, when you start to take income from these, a lot of people don't realize it's ordinary income at current rates at the time of when you take those distributions. And a lot of people don't realize it. In a lot of cases, I'm sure a lot of you out there are frustrated because you're like, golly, I have the Social Security coming in, but now I'm being taxed on it. How am I being taxed on my Social Security? And the frustration I hear a lot of times is how can all these wealthy people, right, pay little to no tax, but I'm just a middle class, upper class person.
Hardworking.
And what are the loopholes, Glenn? What are the things that are available that can help me with reducing my taxes? And that's what we specialize in. And you know, we've talked before that many tax preparers focus on your taxes that you owe today, right? They're so stressed with trying to meet deadlines and file extensions, right? And you're just sending all your stuff in and they're all stressed to try to get those tax returns done based on today's taxes, but they don't look at future taxes. They don't look at how can we move some of these accounts that maybe not tax efficient to some tax efficient accounts that are legal. They're there, right? But many of you aren't even shown these things. So we're going to sit down with you and we're going to say, hey, let's take this big tax problem that could be a major issue in the future and let's see what it's going to cost us. Let's look at maybe if tax rates go down in the future. Some of this unique software we have can show you that. Or maybe what if the taxes go up? Or what if I lose my spouse and I become a single taxpayer rather than married filing jointly? Am I going to have bigger tax problems in the future, right? So all of these, what I call them is tax bombs that are really headed our way, can be avoided in a lot of cases with proper planning. And that's the reason why we offer a tax review to review this and a tax analysis. And we look at future taxes and the possible impact that it has on your retirement income. Because if a lot of your income that's being paid to you is going out to the IRS, that's less money in your pocket, right? So avoiding that's very, very important, or trying to reduce that. There's no way to get rid of the IRS completely, right? But if I can reduce those taxes or eliminate a lot of those taxes by doing Roth conversions, right? Or contributing to a Roth, right? That's a great thing to do. And we'll talk a little bit more about that on the show today as well.
For sure. So much goodness you shared there. You know, analogy, I really appreciate the difference between tax preparation and tax planning, which is what you are strategically doing for your clients. Tax preparation, it's almost like you're an archaeologist, right? You're looking in the past and then figuring out how much can I save from my tax liability from the previous year. But what you're doing with strategic tax planning, you're the architect. You're building a financial plan that is making sure it's creating greater tax efficiency throughout every aspect of someone's financial life. And that can make such a big difference, because at the end of the day, it's not about how much you have, it's about how much you get to keep. And we're not talking about tax evasion here, right? But we don't want you to have to legally pay any more to the IRS than you are required to pay. And so many folks, Glenn, I know you've seen it and heard it too, just assume, oh, that's just the way it is. Oh, well, this is, you know, taxes, they stink. This is what I have to pay. Ho hum. No, there's actually strategies that if you're proactive, that can help you mitigate that tax burden and liability.
Absolutely. And what we see in a lot of cases is a lot of people, when we start to share these ideas and we start to say, hey, future taxes, future this, you know, they want to include their CPA, right? And I want your CPA to be included.
Well, we need them.
We need them. You know, they're the professionals, right, on the tax side of things. So we have no problem sharing some of our plans that can help reduce those tax burdens in the future, right? But many of them, when I share my plans with them, they're in shock. They're like, my gosh, I never knew, you know, this type of software existed that can show me where things are headed in the future, right? That if rates go up or down, how much of a liability I'm going to have. Or if I were to try to pay the taxes on some of these IRAs now and convert them into a Roth, and that money were to grow over the next 10 to 15 years before I retire, how much tax-free income can I get? And the nice thing about tax-free income is it doesn't affect your Social. You're not going to get taxed on your Social Security in a lot of cases with tax-free income.
And it doesn't affect your Medicare premiums.
So a lot of us need to sit down with a professional, and I'm not the only guy in town. There's other people that do what I do. But if you're not hearing this from your current advisor, if your current advisor is only saying, hey, we just want to keep your money growing, you know, don't worry about the taxes. Oh, yeah, you know, everybody has to pay taxes, just like you mentioned, or you should be happy you're paying taxes. That means your money's growing really well. If you're tired of hearing that, and I'm sure you are, sit down with someone that can help share ideas with you. And I'm not saying to implement our ideas. I'm saying I'm going to share them with you. And you may say, hey, you know what? Based on my income this year, I may be able to convert up to this much amount of money before I go into the other tax bracket, right? So this is all methodical. It all takes planning. It's not just, hey, here's what you do today and this is what you'll get tomorrow. No, we want to systematically do this. And a lot of my tax planning is at the end of the year. Why at the end of the year is so important? Because then I can kind of figure out how much income that client has made between their pensions, Social Security, say rental income, and we can make sure that if they do some type of contribution or a Roth conversion going from a tax-deferred account, qualified account, over to a tax-free account, if I move money, I'm going to pay some taxes there, right? But I'm going to pay the taxes now. I'm going to get rid of that silent partner, which is the IRS. We all have a silent partner, and that silent partner spends a lot of money, right? And I want to get rid of him as soon as I can. If I was in a business and I had a silent partner that just spent uncontrollably, I want to get rid of him because I don't want my business to grow or my IRA to continue to grow over time and then have a bigger tax burden, not only for me,
Right.
not only for my spouse, but also for my children. I don't want to
Yes.
give them this big tax problem.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, so much gold that you said there, Glenn. And I'm excited because when we continue today's show, we're going to talk about some of these strategies for how you at home can remove your wealth from Washington. How can you go ahead and proactively mitigate your tax liability? But if you want to come in and sit down and look at your individual financial situation, this is why Glenn is offering to you completely complimentary your written financial plan. To claim yours, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call 888-503-7408. Or if you have your smartphone handy and want to connect that way, we've got you covered. Simply pull it out, open up that camera app, point, click, and scan the QR code that you see there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Big Financial Services will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary visit that way as well. Don't go anywhere. We're going to cover some of these important strategies for how you can remove your wealth from Washington right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there or be square. Happy birthday to you. As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion even...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back. You're watching The Big Money Show, where today we are discussing how to remove your wealth from Washington. If you want to learn how to mitigate your tax liability, that's what this show is dedicated to. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with Glenn Cummings, who's the president of Big Financial Services based right here in the Tampa Bay area. And Glenn, you mentioned earlier in the show doing Roth conversions.
Yes.
Let's talk about Roth accounts in general and then Roth conversions, because there is a lot of confusion out there between making a contribution and doing a conversion. How does it actually work? Is it the best thing for me to do? So let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, you know, it is frustrating because certain not age, but certain limits of income. So if you make a certain amount of money, you can't even contribute to a Roth. That's frustrating. So if you're working hard out there and you get a good job and you have a really good earned income, they won't even let you do that.
It feels like a punishment, right?
It is punishment. I feel we're getting punished a lot out there, okay? But if you already own an IRA, if you already have a 401k, a 403b, a qualified plan that you put in pre-tax dollars, you're eligible to do a Roth conversion. And it's very, very important to understand that I need to own that Roth. Currently, the rules are for at least 5 years before I can take distributions, okay? And another thing that people don't realize is when I go to pull money out of my investments, right, and I'm going to pay tax on that investment, in some cases, if the markets are down, right, or if it's a bad month or two, I probably want to move some of the money out of those, even though I'm experiencing a little bit of a loss, right, by doing that. I'm paying a lesser tax bill on that conversion. And then if I invest those monies in the Roth into similar like investments, okay? And you have different rules, 30-day rules and things like that. You have to be careful there, and that's why you work with a professional. But when you do that, then that growth now, moving forward, is going to be a tax-deferred, tax-free investment, right? not only Roths, there's municipal bonds, right? Local municipal bonds. You may have some benefits there.
Right.
There's opportunity zones, right? The government set in place, which can help you with taxes. I have lots of clients that own a lot of real estate, right? Real estate also gives you fantastic opportunities to save on taxes. But I did have a gentleman that we looked at his retirement years, so he was after 59 and a half, and his goal was to take his Social Security at 66 and a half.
Okay.
But we figured that his IRA, to get out of that, to be at the lowest taxes, and we do all this stuff here on a big screen in my office. You come in, we have a fresh cup of coffee, and we take our time, and we will show you different graphs. If I can do it this much per year, how much taxes will I save? So we did this whole plan for him, got with a CPA, shared it with him. His CPA is like, this is great. Matter of fact, that CPA is sending a lot of people to visit with us to help as well,
awesome.
right? It's a blessing, right? But the fact is that he was able to build a plan that he can go ahead. He was going to take his Social Security at 66 and a half. But then if he would have still been doing those conversions, right, that Social Security would have been taxed. So we said, don't take your Social Security yet. Let's take your Social Security at 70 years old. And you get a bigger amount of money by waiting.
Right.
And at that time, you will be fully converted.
So smart. So
5 years, you'll be fully converted. Oh, and by the way, every dollar you take out of that account moving forward is tax-free.
Wow.
So that's just one example. There's so many examples. But should everyone do a Roth conversion? No. You know, not everyone should. It all depends on your situation. It depends on your income, all those different types of things. So it's very, very important to sit down with a professional, get a second opinion, not only from me, but from someone else, and look around and see what's available. And don't be pressured by individuals you meet with that say you have to do it this way or there's no other way to do it.
Right.
Right? Or you have to do this today. Those kind of people are showing up and you're meeting with them and they're putting that kind of pressure on you. Turn and run the other way. Come into my office. Sit back, like I said, have a fresh cup of coffee with us. You know, relax, chill, enjoy yourselves. Come in, let's talk, and let's look over options. And I'm going to give you full transparency. I'm going to give you everything so you can take it home, you can read it. And, you know, sometimes it'll drive you nuts, okay? I mean, some of these reports has got a lot of stuff in there that you may not understand.
But it's as much detail as you want to have, right?
Yeah, some of these reports, you know, got a lot of stuff in there, but they're very simple to understand if you have a professional like myself that takes the time to show you each page and where things are headed and what are the opportunities to help yourself. You know, reducing those taxes is so important in retirement.
It is, for sure.
Very important.
And so many people aren't even aware that they are sitting on a tax bomb, to use your language from earlier in the show, right? Because the majority of Americans do have the bulk of their wealth saved up in these tax-deferred accounts, these qualified accounts. Your workplace retirement plan, maybe it's a 401k, a 403b, 457, TSP, traditional IRAs. A lot of folks don't realize that Uncle Sam's coming.
Uncle Sam's coming.
And, you know, when people say, oh, I have $1 million saved up for retirement, and they get really excited, unfortunately, that's not all your money because Uncle Sam is that silent partner.
It's a silent partner. And here's the thing, think about this. If the highest tax rate now is, say, 39%, 37, 39%, and those taxes go up to 70%. You know, like they did for many years.
Right, because we're in the third lowest tax brackets we've ever been in the history of our country right now. Right,
Never been in.
Which is hard to believe when you're paying all this tax and you're feeling like you're getting taxed to death, right?
Yes. So, and I'm not saying they're going to go up to 70%, okay? But what if they go to 50?
Yeah.
You know, what if they go to 55? You know, what if that happens? That is going to definitely affect you and impact you in your retirement. It's going to affect the amount of money you're able to spend. And here's the other thing too. Taxes and inflation are a major problem.
Oh, yes.
Because we know things are going up. We're going to need more income in the future. So if things are going up in cost, and I have bigger taxes going up in cost, that's a major problem.
Yes.
We also talked before about being a single taxpayer and being married filing jointly.
Right.
Married filing jointly has a lot more benefits, higher brackets there where you're not hit as bad married filing jointly. But a single taxpayer, upon me passing away, when my spouse receives my income from my IRAs, that she inherits this big tax bomb, and those rates go up. She has less income because she's lost my income in a lot of cases. Right?
Yep.
She also has bigger tax problems that she's going to have to deal with, and she's got inflation.
Yeah.
Right? So sitting down and looking over, and like I said, many advisors out there are accumulation-only advisors. What's the best stock? What's the best bond? Let's get your growth here. Let's get your growth there.
Right.
They're not talking about all these tax problems down the road that affect all of that.
Yes.
So if they don't specialize in looking over taxes, if they're not willing to step aside and say, you know what, hey, I'm going to share this plan with you, but before we make this full recommendation, let's go sit down with your tax person. If your tax person doesn't do it, maybe we can go find another tax person. Let's share this with them as well. Let's get a joint advice type of recommendation here, where we don't just do it all from Glenn. Let's work with some tax professionals as well to make sure we're doing the right thing and make sure that we follow those rules. Because you know what? A lot of times guys out there will say, oh, do all this and do all that, and you do it, and they haven't met with a tax person to make sure they're comfortable and to make sure the client's comfortable. And they'll just make these recommendations, and those could really hurt you. A lot of people are doing it on their own. Don't do it on your own. Get a second opinion. If it doesn't cost you anything to sit down with me and do a strategy session that's built all around taxes and trying to avoid the government, right?
Yep.
Sit down with us. I'm not going to charge you $1. Sit down. Let's review what you have. And let's share some great ideas that you can sink in. It's pretty cool.
Wonderful. Glenn, thank you so much. And
Yes.
there's really no substitute for sitting down in the financial planning environment to look at all these different pieces of your financial life and figure out how they fit together. Where are some ways that you can create greater tax efficiency throughout your full financial plan? And as Glenn said, if you're already working with another financial advisor and they are not having these kinds of conversations with you, it's time to get a second opinion. And we invite you to do that by picking up the phone and calling 888-503-7408. Again, this is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation with Glenn and the team of Big Financial Services to see how they can help and serve you. Or again, you can scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. More on how to remove your wealth from Washington right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Well, welcome back to the Big Money Show, a great show we're having today talking about how to remove your wealth from Washington. I know, Glenn, a lot of folks are watching today going, yes, sign me up, right? I'm tired of being taxed to death. One of the things I want to ask you, because I do know you have a lot of clients, of course, that you work with who are approaching retirement, who are already retired. You also work with a lot of people who are still working. And one of the newer developments is now a lot of companies are offering a Roth 401k option. So here's my question for you. I think it can be really challenging for someone who's been told their whole life to contribute to their 401k, for example, or whatever workplace retirement plan they have, get the match, put as much in as possible, and that this is a really good thing because you get a tax deduction today for putting in the contribution. It's going to grow tax deferred, and then supposedly in retirement you'll be in a lower tax bracket.
Yeah.
Well, based on all the things we've talked about, being $34 trillion in debt and counting, we can't necessarily bank on the fact that we would be in a lower tax bracket. So if someone's trying to decide between, do I contribute to the traditional 401k, or if you have the Roth 401k option, do I contribute to that? What do you recommend? Do you recommend they put some in one, some in the other? Do they put it all in one or the other? How do you help folks navigate that decision?
Well, number one, it's very good to have a 401k, either a pre-taxed or a Roth type of 401k. So what I always recommend is, even though there's tax issues in the future, you know, I would go with the maximum match that the company's going to match.
Right.
So if it's a pre-taxed account and they're going to match me 5%, I'm going to make sure that I max that pre-taxed benefit. But then I'm going to look at non-qualified accounts, right? Where accounts that I can just establish with after-tax money. And I'm going to look at a Roth account, right? So if the companies will match your Roth, that's fantastic. I'm not sure a lot of them do that at this time, but if they can, that's fantastic, right? But I would rather have an account where I pay the taxes now, the money grows tax deferred, and when I pull that money out, it's tax-free down the road. So I would rather have you contribute to a Roth or non-qualified accounts as well, okay? But in non-qualified accounts, we talked about some tax-deferred options, some tax-deferred annuities can provide that tax-deferred growth. And of course, you have a cost basis that's built up in those. That's money you've already paid taxes on. So you're only taxed on the interest earnings or ordinary income rates. And you're not required to take a required minimum distribution, which all of us right now that are in retirement are worried, when do I have to take this? How much is it going to be? Call our office, set up a time. Let's look over what you have. Let's share different ideas, right? But no, that's a great, great question. There's a lot of different ways to save on taxes, for sure. But a lot of people don't specialize in it. We do. We do. So we love to meet with everyone and share some great tax saving ideas.
For sure. Well, and you stay on the pulse of it because there's something known as legislative risk, meaning the rules are always changing. I think of how much the rules have just changed in the last 4 years alone with the Secure 1.0 Act and then the Secure 2.0 Act. I mean, there's been a lot of changes which can also lead to a lot of confusion and the need to tweak current financial plans.
Yes, you always have to be willing to tweak the financial plan. And but these Roths, in my opinion, are the best thing since sliced bread, right? Because I'm able to grow my money tax deferred, and I'm able to pull out tax-free income. And it's really nice the government has given us that option, right? It's a great option to have. But they know that most people are stuck in these IRAs, these 401ks, and they're just waiting for us to go, right?
They
and
want
then our
that
kids,
tax.
when they inherit it, have to liquidate over 10 years that entire amount of money at higher income tax rates, most likely. So be careful, sit down with a professional, come in, hang out with me, guys. This is who you're going to see, right? Kristen, this is me.
Yep, this is you. What you see on TV is what you're going to get. I can attest to that.
The Big Money Show, we're here. We're in Tampa Bay. Come visit us. Love to meet each and every one of you. Kristen, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Glenn. It's always a joy to be with you. Like I said, I look forward to this time each and every week, and no doubt more folks are going to want to get connected with you, especially after our conversation today.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. Again, the offer stands for you to claim your complimentary written financial plan. Why wouldn't you? If there's something that you could be doing now proactively to mitigate your tax bill, we encourage you, reach out, take action. You never know what you don't know. But Glenn and the team of Big Financial Services are here to walk you through it and help you make the best decisions for you and your financial future. 888-503-7408 is that number to call. We love you, Tampa Bay. We look forward to being back with you next time here on The Big Money Show.